All right, let's preface this episode before we actually get into it. We're recording this well after the fact.
Yeah. Hey, everyone. How you doing?
If you listen to episode 6, you already know. Recording quality, not great. We had some issues with some new equipment and stuff, but we liked episode 7 enough that we wanted to keep it. So, we apologize. We strive for better, but, we didn't want perfection to be the enemy of good.
Yeah, and you know what? The quality of the audio is one thing, but the quality of the content is why we couldn't let this one go. We had some jokes that well after we recorded this, we're like, that was funny. We did like that.
Yeah.
Being the narcissist self-listeners that we are, we thought it was important that, hey, we've had our ups and downs this month trying to get some episodes out, trying to get some Rad Dad podcast to the niche. And it was important that we did that. So please bear with the audio quality and know that it's not going to happen again.
We've learned our lesson.
These
mics aren't always plug and play. You actually got to read the manual.
Yep.
So I apologize if, my audio spikes and it hurts your ears. I apologize if it sounds like Drew is like phoning in from a different time zone.
It just sounds like I'm a super fan. Like I just phone in all the time. It's like so hype.
So we appreciate you bearing with us. Hope you enjoy the episode in spite of the audio quality. And obviously it'll be better moving forward.
Thanks for listening.
Have fun.
Welcome to the Rad Dad Redemption Podcast. Here's your hosts, Drew and Dex.
We're back and we're ruminating again.
We were just having a little discussion before we started this.
Ruminate. Hit me.
Yeah. And I don't want to dwell on it because I brought it up last episode and it was very much like the meme of the guy looking down on his peasants.
Yeah.
And it was like my microphone and microphone stand looking at your blue snowball.
You didn't want to bring it up again, yet it's the first thing we talked about tonight.
It was a business conversation.
What was the business?
I was just saying, I was working on the last episode and I noticed that, with my superior quality microphone, and I was trying to put it really nicely, like I didn't want to, but I was like, the levels look a lot better.
In my head when I was editing the last episode, it was just how shit you sound and how amazing and even I sound. Well, Matt, if you're listening, okay, belated 5 miss to me from you is going to be one of these space microphones that my partner now has.
I was gonna say instead of calling in my brother-in-law for like a favor, I think we need to find like a podcast sugar mama.
Oh
yeah.
Don't we have one?
Is that my wife?
I wasn't,
because I take money out of her purse all the time.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna say it was your wife. I was just gonna allude to this mystery person who pays for all these things. Is it your wife?
No. I think we need to find one. Is what I'm saying. We're lacking a sugar mama.
Where do two husky boys with families go to pick up sugar mamas in their mid-30s? What's the hot spot? That should be the theme. Where do you go to?
A buffet?
Yeah. Is that where thirsty rich women are going to pick a suitor? Is like, I'm gonna go down to the buffet. Okay, here's a harder thing to name than where to pick up a sugar mama. Where can you even go that's a buffet anymore? That's not a Chinese restaurant.
Casinos is the only
where the rich lady is,
or people who are degenerate gamblers and literally have no money.
Yeah, what time do you go? Because I was about to say you must go on like Tuesday at noon. That's when all the like super hot sugar mamas are filling their buffet plates with their mashed and gravy. But I don't think so. They're probably going in prime time.
You think so? I would say you got to go for like the prime rib buffet, like when they're busting out the prime rib, and it's not your $18.99, normal buffet, but they got like $24.99 prime rib, maybe some crab legs. That's the day you go.
And you're just in line in your tightest pants. Oh, I wish I didn't have to shut down my super funny podcast. Oh God, I wish somebody just come along and pick up the tab, and we could just keep going forever. I would be so indebted to that person. I would love them so much. I would make them feel so loved. Yeah, is that the move? Or
I don't know. All I know is I'm not cut out for online dating because that requires like good photos.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Okay, I'm thinking maybe, yeah, because I've had this conversation with a few friends of mine who do the online dating, and the photo thing is like, it's amazing actually how much goes into it, because it's not like fucking Facebook or Instagram where you can put a photo up, whatever, delete a photo. I think the one we were talking about was Hinge, and on Hinge you're allowed like 7 or 8 photos, and the amount of time that goes into like deciding what those photos should be, because it's a huge make or break. It's like that's your resume.
Oh yeah, and that's what people are judging you off of.
7 pictures. Like, think about that. Like, you have 7 pictures to pick up this hot sugar mama at the casino buffet, and if you pick the wrong 7 photos, your fucking podcast is done for. Okay, like those are the stakes that we're talking about.
Can I go back and scrape some of like my high school Dex photos from like 07?
Then you're catfishing. Then you are the Manti Te'o story. There you go. First episode.
Podcast come full circle.
Yeah. What I was gonna say though is, because you were just throwing shade. This whole thing started. You were being a microphone elitist, and maybe we need to start like an application where it's a online dating, but it's just your voices, and people be like, "Wow, he's so even." And like recorded so well.
He must have a Blue Yeti microphone.
He must have a Blue Yeti. That guy he's hanging out with, what a fucking idiot. That guy sucks.
You know what though? I think you're onto something there. If it was like only audio.
Yeah.
But then for sure, I feel like maybe some people don't sign up for that because they're like pretty confident they're only getting ugly people on the other side.
For sure. Like, I think it's a thing that like every phone sex operator like probably isn't hot.
You just gotta have a hot voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't ask you to send in a photo to get that job.
No. When you're watching like TV late at night and those ads come on, it's like call 1-866 like chat now.
Those aren't the girls?
I'm gonna say those are actresses, and the girls actually manning the phone lines are not them.
They're pretty convincing. They said it's the best time you can have at night.
I do wonder who calls into those.
The Rad Dad Redemption podcast later on in this episode will phone one of those numbers.
Hell yeah.
Hey, play that sex line jingle you've been working on.
More jingles, hey? All right.
That was not getting old. Hey, what are we sipping on today, brother?
Well, I understand your wife purchases for us.
Yeah, that was,
There's our podcast sugar mama. She's supplying the drinks.
The literal sugar.
Yeah, the literal high fructose corn syrup.
High fructose corn syrup mama. Thanks, baby.
We got some Mountain Dew, as we do.
Yeah.
But this is a new one. I haven't seen this one. Spark. It's raspberry lemonade, and it's actually it's pretty tasty. I'm a sucker for anything lemonade. So.
Well, we were talking about this. I can't remember. It's so funny because we recorded our last podcast. We haven't released it, And we're getting long in the tooth, long in the tooth, short in the schween. Definitely, that's another podcast line. Man, just regurgitating all 6 episodes, 5 released. Okay, but I don't even know. I guess where I was going, I don't know what I said last time. I could be guilty of like using the same material because I haven't listened back. But where I'm going to go with this, and I'm hoping I didn't talk about it at length, is how like I've become an actual Mountain Dew guy over the last couple months.
You've not talked about this, no?
Oh man, like because you bought those American Mountain Dew, with like the extra little.
The little energy kick, yeah.
Yeah, a little energy kick or whatever it was in there, and I was laughing because like it's a thinking routine. I've trained myself to do it. I go to the store, and before I go like, oh, what do I want to drink? Before my brain is like, what's the thing I want? It's like, oh, what kind of Mountain Dews do they have? Like that's my first stop. That's my first step. Oh man, yeah, and I ended up buying a lot of Mountain Dew. So,
and Mountain Dew has a lot of variety.
You know what? We started out making a joke like, "Oh, they should sponsor us," but what a great product. Okay, the variety, the taste. Sometimes
Mountain Dew, please buy us a second good microphone.
Yeah, Mountain Dew. If you're Mr. Mountain Dew, if you're up there at Mount Dew, where you reside, looking down on the rest of us, if you're listening to this podcast and you feel like you could be our sugar mama, please mail us a Blue Yeti microphone. You can go to raddadredemptionpodcast@gmail.com to inquire as to the mailing address, because I'm not going to give that out. All right, we don't have a PO box yet. But yeah, Mr. Mountain Dew, give me this fucking mic, and I don't know, a couple skateboards, maybe a t-shirt, just some Dew gear.
Yeah, send as many XXL t-shirts as you have.
God, we're dying here. Oh my god. Yeah, many XXL tees. Hey man, we bought the Rad Dad gear. You ordered large, and it's looking great.
Thank you. I'm wearing the hoodie right now.
Yeah, hell yeah. Looks fantastic. You're an OG box.
Actually, so it's funny. I was over the holidays. I was at our good friend Dan and Krista's house for New Year's.
Okay. Yeah.
Just having some drinks, and their family had been there kind of doing like early New Year's, but they got young kids, so they were heading out. And we were kidless that night, left them with the in-laws. Nice. So, but Krista's brother, shout out, I love the podcast and like love that hoodie. Like, when are you selling those hoodies? And I was like, I didn't have an answer, but that could be the answer to our question of how we get another microphone, sell some hoodies.
Yeah, and I'm gonna come back to that. One of Krista's brothers, if you're listening, okay, thanks for the listen, thanks for the follow, thanks for the support. We'll get you a hoodie. Yeah, we had talked about the hoodie thing, but you were talking about doing like the third party, like someone else prints it, we design it.
Yeah.
The problem with that is the margins. You gotta sell like 1 billion shirts to get one microphone. This is gonna throw back right to Mr. Mountain Dew. Made me think of Kool-Aid points. You remember Kool-Aid points? Where you get
I do. Yeah.
You'd get a Kool-Aid and there'd be 1 point on the back, and you could save them up, and you'd have like 500, and it's like you could get this like shit frisbee. Like, that's what 500 points gets you. How many t-shirts are we gonna have to sell on a third-party platform to be able to afford one of these space microphones?
I think as long as we price them at like $120 a t-shirt, like kind of like Gucci.
Reasonable.
Yeah.
Even like Affliction.
Yeah, exactly.
Rad Dad, like Affliction.
Maybe or like limited run shirts.
Ed Hart.
Like, there's only 600,000 that you can buy.
Yeah.
And they're all $120. Yeah. We'll get there quick.
I think so. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's a little. You know what? I'm currently living in my in-laws' basement, and
so we really need to start selling some shirts.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm running out of runway. Is pretty short. No, I just there's no space for inventory, because I was like, well, I'll order like 100 large shirts, 100 small shirts.
Well, and the problem with that is you got to carry all that inventory. Like, you've got that sitting on your credit card.
No, the third party is the way to go.
Yeah.
It is. It's legit. I actually just.
We'll get that up and running. We'll get that up and running at some point. And then we'll have a whole episode where all we do is shill the shit that we've made so that people will buy it.
Shill the shit?
Shill the shit.
Yeah. What is... You know what? Fuck it. I'm ready to shill some shit.
I have no morals or ethical compass. Like, this is just going to turn into a shopping channel podcast.
Go with God, yeah. Oh yeah, the first thing we think of that like could maybe be sold, we're gonna be like Kiss. We're just gonna be fucking branding everything. Like, look out.
Get your Rad Dad lunch boxes.
Oh yeah, God, yeah. Oh man. So this is episode 7. Well, welcome. There's our spicy intro.
That was the intro.
Our hot mic intro. We had talked, and I'm not even sure where this idea came from, but we had discussed maybe some conspiracy theories.
I mean, that's like one of the hottest topics you can find on podcasts. It's just conspiracy theories.
I mean, all podcasts are essentially, like, could be considered conspiracy theories from one group or another. And that was one thing when I started Googling. I was like, what are some good conspiracy theories that we could really sink our teeth into and talk about on the show? And what I failed to realize is that, like, in our intensely polarized society right now, and like just the nature of the web, like when you type in conspiracy theory into any search engine, like, you better be ready, because like you're and the ones, because I was trying to like give it a descriptor, be like hilarious conspiracy theory, like silly, and then it'd be like, yeah, okay, Obama. Like, as soon as you start going down, I was like, this is what the internet is. This is the internet. It like functions to trick you and make you believe something that is not true. And it's hungry. It like feels me out there. Like, oh, we got to get this guy with some major disinformation. I had a hard time finding.
Well, and you know what's funny is, like, even just existence itself can be a conspiracy theory, because I'm sure you've seen the theories that like, well, we live in a simulation, or like, we're all genetically, or the Matrix basically.
Perfect segue.
Yeah.
Can I drop one?
Sure, but yeah, I mean, I was just saying, like, just literally us sitting here could be a conspiracy. Just the fact that we exist could be a conspiracy theory.
Well, you nailed it. So this is one I found that I did like, because I feel like it goes along with what you're just saying. It was timely for me to interject. I needed to get in there because there's been a ton of stuff that like has happened in the last 10 years. Where I'm like, this one maybe, okay? Earth has been sucked into a black hole circa 2012. The European Organization for Nuclear Research, CERN, is at the heart of a lot of crazy conspiracy theories, including people who believe that when CERN discovered the Higgs boson particle back in 2012, they inadvertently created a black hole and Earth was sucked into it. These people think that the world ended in 2012, but we haven't realized it yet. So we all, like a lost situation, have died, and we all died at the exact same time as a result of this black hole created over at CERN. Everything that's been happening since then is just like a stream of consciousness, a collective stream of consciousness. Like we don't exist right now. And that would explain some of the like crazier things that have been happening in the last 10 years.
Well, and it also, I feel like some things are just like repeating, just with like slightly different flavors. It's like the whatever, simulation or however the mindset that we're kind of all collectively living in. It's just, it's kind of running out of ideas. And so it's just rehashing the same things. So like the thing that I think about is, have you seen down in Brazil, Bolsonaro, he lost the election.
Yeah.
And he was like the Brazilian Trump.
I was just watching this today.
Yeah. And so yeah, I mean, when this comes out, it's gonna be old news. But basically, like in Brazil, they like stormed the Capitol buildings, just like they did in January 6th, 2 years ago in the United States, and they even have like a fucking Brazilian shaman guy. Like, you remember that shaman guy who was like,
the Q shaman, yeah.
There's a Brazilian version of that. It's just like shamanisto.
So this is like they released The Circle on Netflix, and now this is like the Brazilian Circle.
Yeah.
It's just like in a completely like the exact same premise, but just like superimposed. Okay.
Yeah.
The Brazilian QAnon shaman.
It's just like there's like limited amount of like RAM to kind of create new ideas.
There's some asshole with like a big pom-pom toque taking a podium out and like giving the big wave. Do you see that? You saw that?
Yeah.
Snapshot, but it's the Brazilian equivalent.
Just need the Brazilian dude, the Brazilian guy doing that. So yeah, it's funny, and then this Bolsonaro guy, he lost, and I don't know if you've seen any of the pictures, but he basically like bailed out to Florida because he's like, well, some scandals might come out, and of course, there could be some charges or whatever, and so he's like, no, I'm going to Florida. I'm gonna hang out with like OG Trump, like in Mar-a-Lago. But there's like pictures of him like just eating at KFC in like South Florida, and he's just dressed as like a tourist. And it's so fucking weird to me that like this guy who was a world leader like just weeks ago of like a very large economy, like Brazil's like the 6th largest economy in the world.
Place, yeah.
No, and now he's just like chowing down on some KFC like any old fat American. Like
that's what I'm saying, and that's what I'm saying is go back to 2011 before we were all sucked into the black hole and died, and explain to someone. You also in this fake reality that we live in have developed time travel capabilities. You go back to 2011.
Okay, now we're really going down the rabbit hole.
No. This will go somewhere. So you go back to 2011 and you find 2011 Dex. You make him sober up.
You pull him out of the gutter. You slap him.
Give him a couple slaps. Okay, once you've got this guy coherent and ready to listen, you just start telling him shit from like our present day. You're like, yeah, man, we just kind of getting over this massive global pandemic. It's not really over, but people are just tired of doing it. So we just kind of we just called it over. And then the president, who is a former reality TV star, just released his own edition of NFTs. It was like dressed as a superhero shooting laser beams out of his eyes, or like a really sexy cowboy. Like he's the president now, And they're like, and you could do it with anything. Like take any one of these wild and insane, like very true things that is going on right now, and try and explain it back to 2011 Dex or 2001 Dex. Probably inappropriate. He's a child, But we were already established that you was in.
I was mature beyond my years.
Probably would have had some funny shit to say.
Yeah.
Even a good soundboard.
You know what's crazy is you're talking about the black hole being inadvertently created. So you've seen Inception, right?
Yes.
And when they go to that planet, the water planet that's really close to the black hole, and because of the gravity, it slows time. So they're like, 2 minutes here is 7 years on Earth.
Wait. You said Inception. Are you now
Interstellar?
Are you now explaining Interstellar?
Yeah, no, Interstellar.
That's fair. I just wanted to.
It's all I words.
You know,
all right?
when you get this guy a $8 million mic, he's still a fucking idiot.
Yeah, oh yeah. You can't buy IQ points, folks. No, Interstellar. You're right. Yeah, and I'm glad you corrected me on that because I didn't want it to go. No, I didn't want to go too long, and people are like, this guy's definitely not talking. I did not see that Inception. Then they do think they're living in a different reality where we've seen different types of Inceptions.
Oh my God.
But anyway, so in Interstellar, there's that water planet close to the black hole. They're hanging out there for like 4 minutes, but like 15 years has passed back on the ship.
Yeah, and they gotta go back in the ship, wake everybody up.
Yeah.
So they can get into the next dream.
Okay, no, but I do remember they got back to the ship, and there was the guy that stayed back on the ship, and he was like old and gray, and anyway, maybe when they inadvertently created the black hole in 2012, we're actually, the world is in the process of ending, but we don't realize it because time is moving so incredibly slow.
Oh,
so like even though we're like 10 years on, we're like the loading bar on your porno download is only at 1%, right? And we're just like oblivious to it, even though because of the gravity, time is going so slow, but we feel it as normal, but Mars is watching us and they're fucked.
You know, I really made it hard for you to get that out, but now that I did finally respect you enough to allow you to get that, that's actually blowing my mind a little bit. That's like, we're just in this relative time space where literally shit is exploding and imploding and like the world is ending, but it's just going by so slow that it's manifesting itself consciously. It's just like a bunch of really ridiculous and shitty things that keep happening. Yeah, write that one down. That's gonna get some traction online.
Oh yeah.
This episode we're actually creating conspiracy theories. We're gonna reinforce a lot of this.
As soon as we post this, my front door's getting kicked in, just some time cops.
So you're getting swatted time cop style.
Oh yeah. Some aliens that are just like, he knows too much.
We're both like kind of looking up at the ceiling right now. Like, is it now?
Do we crack the code?
Okay. This one I pulled up just for you because I know your daughter is like many young people of her generation really into Frozen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big fan. So here's a conspiracy theory that pertains to Frozen. Disney created Frozen as a distraction. People have long discussed the conspiracy theory that Walt Disney used cryogenics technology to freeze himself when he died, even though the Disney family refused the claims. Of course they do. However, a new theory is that the Walt Disney Company created Frozen as a way to hack Google's search algorithm as a distraction. So when you would type in Frozen instead of,
you'd search like Disney Frozen, and you're gonna get the movie and the Elsa. Yeah. I like that. Makes a lot of sense. The one thing that I have trouble with that one, and I've heard that conspiracy before, where he's cryogenically frozen. When did he died a long time ago? And like even right now, cryogenics is not like at the level of like being able to preserve people on the edge of death.
When you freeze an animal cell, it explodes.
Yeah,
it becomes hot. I'm not going to say the word. I can't think of it. Is it hypertonic? That's not what happens when it freezes. But yeah, it's it can't unfreeze. There's no process by which you can
exactly
reanimate a dead cell that you've exploded.
Yeah. So I'm like, I don't think the technology is there today. I don't think it was there when he died. And it would be even weirder if it was and he's the one guy that got access to it. Like, think of all the rich, powerful people that have died. Okay, now I'm coming up with a new conspiracy theory. When you see people are dying and all these like celebrities and powerful people, they're not actually dying. They're being cryogenically frozen to be awoken later in life, but they get announced as they're dead.
Crazy. Yeah. Well, I mean,
that's the only way that can like jive with me is that technology is available, just not to the general public. You have to have an insane amount of wealth and notoriety and connections. because I don't think that Walt Disney would be the one guy that got cryogenically frozen. We've never had anybody get
He's Canseco. He's just the one dude that like got busted and started talking about it. He's like, fine, I wrote a book and froze my fucking self. Everyone does it. Everyone freezes themselves. Let me tell you, this guy froze himself. This guy froze himself. I helped Mark freeze himself.
Yeah, big old asterisk on the cryogenics era there.
Yeah, the old cryogenics era. Yeah, no, there's a couple that came up that were like immediately like, well, that couldn't have happened because of like, well, a lot of them I should say, but yeah, like the technological landscape at the time was not appropriate. Was not,
we're still not there. We have some wild technology.
We used it. We did it once for Wesley Snipes and Sylvester Stallone in Demolition Man, and that was just to make that movie.
Yeah, it was. They did their own stunts. It was very impressive.
NDAs. They had to destroy that technology after they filmed Demolition Man, world's greatest movie.
I think one of my favorite conspiracies that I was Googling, and I was trying to Google like funny conspiracies, and like a lot of them really aren't funny, or like maybe the lens that I'm looking at it from, but I was like, oh, that's not funny. That's just like really, really negative towards like a group of people that you don't like. But
anyway, yes, that's I found the same thing.
Yeah. So, but one that I found was funny was that the South Korean government has promoted K-pop around the world to boost tourism coming out of COVID.
Interesting.
Yeah, because like K-pop has blown up over the last couple of years, especially among that kind of like Gen Z. So like young people who are starting to do those traveling situations like you did with Megan going through Europe right after graduation, right? Like that's the prime time to go like save up, travel, like spend some money, have a good time. And so they targeted Gen Z with this like very popular style of music just to boost South Korean tourism after basically like 2 or 3 years of no tourism.
Do you ever watch Ron Funches?
No.
He's a comedian. I hope I said his name right. But he's got a bit about conspiracy theories. And he likens it to like the government. And basically his whole thing is like, he doesn't believe people who say they don't believe conspiracy theories. And very simply is because some of them are true. So if you are a person who goes like, I don't believe conspiracy theories, his thing is like, really? Like you don't believe any?
Like none of them?
You don't believe any of them? Like some of them are pretty reasonable. And he talks about like the government and being like, the government's just batting 1,000. They're just not lying to us
ever.
They've never once told us a lie. Like that's what you're betting on? Is that the government's just like, nope, like nothing to see here. Like we told you everything. He's like, I have one son, and my responsibility as his father is to like look after him. A government's responsibility is to look after like all of its people. I have to look after one. And he's like, and I lie to that kid all the fucking time.
You do that as a parent. You lie to your kids, and like, it could be perfectly innocent sometimes, but it's just like, well, no, like I'm gonna, for your own well-being, I'm not telling you the full truth right now.
Yeah.
Right.
So like some of these, like some of them, there actually I found a couple lists that were conspiracy theories. And then they ended up being true.
Okay.
There's a ton of those.
I have a crazy one that kind of connects, not directly to me personally, but so I spent a few years living in Medicine Hat, and there's that huge military base outside Medicine Hat, Suffield. And it was massive in World War II, post-World War II. The British use it to train. The Americans were using it for a lot of chemical weapons testing because it's just like fucking empty space for like miles in any direction, right? They do war games out there still to this day.
You can get, I actually know this, you can get, like they allow hunts certain times of the year down in Suffield. You can go shoot an elk there.
Yeah, well, because if you don't shoot it, then it's getting run over by an M4 Abrams tank. So
they just need the land cleared.
Like we need this cleared out. But back in, I want to say it's the 50s or 60s, this is obviously post-World War II. Atomic weapons are just starting to proliferate, but we've only used them twice, right? Like on civilian populations, we don't really know like what exactly this does. And so what they did is they actually took a bunch of radioactive particles and released them above Medicine Hat to see how they travel and how it might move throughout a population. And that actually came out. That was in the New York Times probably, I want to say like 10 years ago.
Come on.
That was declassified. Yeah.
In Medicine Hat?
Yeah. They released radioactive particles to see how it would travel in the wind.
So that's
if it gets on people's clothes. Oh yeah, like with 3 eyes. Yeah. No.
Oh man, I knew it.
But so that's
like all the fish there are like Blinky from The Simpsons.
Yeah, exactly.
All the people there are like Blinky from The Simpsons. Yeah.
I think their justification was like, it was like really low radioactivity, but we just wanted to track how the particles moved, but they still had to be radioactive particles, so but that was declassified, and that's just one of those examples of like, eventually it's like, if you were in 1960s Medicine Hat and you're like, those planes up there, they're releasing radioactive material, everybody would be like, you fucking idiot. Like,
yeah, but if you said that in 2022, you'd have a bunch of people like, you gotta come on this website with me.
We're having a rally down at the Capitol.
Moderator. That was one thing when I started looking up conspiracy theories, like the huge majority of stuff that came up was like were like either COVID conspiracy or like Q conspiracy or like current political, like people in power in Canada or the United States, and I was like, I'm not touching it. That's not our show.
No. People come here for escapism, and I don't need to like remind them of like their uncle that they like lost to the rabbit hole. Yeah. Or maybe they are that uncle, and they're just like,
we still want you to buy these T-shirts when they come out.
Buy 400 T-shirts, or the government will get you.
There you are. God, I'll never move out of my in-laws' basement.
The one thing with conspiracy theories that sometimes, and maybe this is a conspiracy theory in itself, but I do think
it's so meta.
Yeah, it is pretty meta, actually. I do think that like a lot of the conspiracy theories that we are like openly able to talk about, that you see all the time when you go on Facebook and stuff, the government just would not allow that. Like, they control so much communication, right? And the fact that you can just openly go on like Facebook and just discuss like all these wild conspiracy theories makes me think that like they're like, oh no, those are the ones that aren't true, so let's let those proliferate, because those won't come true, and the ones that like you don't know about are like very like under the covers, like you're not talking about it with Gam on Facebook. Those are the ones that you're like, okay, those are the real conspiracies.
There's the real ones, yeah. And I love that, the Gam Facebook, the Facebook conspiracies. There's so many. I remember we were talking about being on Facebook back in the day. The person like posts something where it's like, it deals with like privacy, like if repost this so Facebook can't steal your DNA and all this shit. There's some really, really insane ones out there. Oh man, the Facebook conspiracy theories. I kind of forgot about that.
I genuinely think sometimes Facebook is the worst thing to ever happen to society.
It's this isn't my line. Did you watch what is it called, The Social Problem? What's that one on Netflix? They coined this idea that like social media is eroding the fabric of our society. Yep. You no longer can trust anyone. Where you go to get information is so varied. What's considered a trusted source of information is so diluted.
Red Dead Redemption podcast is the only way to get anything you can trust.
You have to just come here to get the cold hard facts.
This is like our villain origin story where we're just like, and then we just have a fucking InfoWars Alex Jones style showdown here, and like it just devolves down to that. Yeah.
But yeah, it's like it's laid out. It's articulate. It's laid out basically. It's just it's convenient. You don't want to believe something? Well, great. Go online and find a group of like-minded people to like reinforce ideas you already have and tell you that they're true. And then when someone else like calls bullshit, you're like, there's enough of us. They're like, I'm telling you, it must be true. If the Earth's not flat, how come there's a whole flat Earth society? How come there's a whole bunch of us making videos, talking to each other?
Yeah, exactly.
Proving all of you wrong.
And I think the thing is, everybody has like an equal platform on social media. I mean, obviously there's some disparities in terms of maybe follower count or like level of fame outside social media.
Snowball mics, one laptop, then one guy gets a really nice mic, and things are never the same. And then there you go. You just have a podcast. You just put information out.
Right, but there's really no differentiation between people in terms of like platform size or platform availability, right?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously people do, oh no, Twitter deplatformed, my favorite, commentator or whatever. But you and I can go create a Twitter account. We have the same platform as Neil deGrasse Tyson, who is objectively smarter than you and I combined. Yeah. And so it's just that threshold for, back in the day, if you wanted to talk to somebody who is an expert in their field. You might have to like seek them out by their book, maybe go to a talk that they were giving, and they were kind of the pinnacle of their field. And now it's like they have to compete with the guy who also has the same social media availability.
And the guy who also says he's an expert.
I'm an expert in my field, yeah.
The expert's a tough one, because expert is like not a designation. It's not anything you've earned. Like, you and I are Mountain Dew experts.
Well, we've earned that.
Yeah, okay. Maybe that was a bad example, right? But you know, like that was a big thing. People going like, I'm an expert, and it's like, okay, all right. I think this is a conspiracy theory. I've actually never seen this video, but I've heard tell the video, the sommeliers, like the wine. Is that the sommelier? Yeah. Yep. They're like drinking white wine that's been colored red and like giving it like all these notes. And it's like, these guys are wine experts. And it's like, well, no, you can't be a fucking expert on like how to drink a drink. You know, like there's so much stuff out there. I guess that's probably one of the more reputable ones. You know, this day and age, there's definitely like...
Because you can go fact check that immediately for yourself. If there's a guy online, he's got a wine sommelier YouTube channel, and he tastes the wine, he's like, oh, I'm getting hints of like oak and cherries, then you can go down to the liquor store and buy that bottle of wine and taste it and be like, this guy's got no fucking idea. Or you're like, yeah, this is the oak and cherry wine, totally.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay, what else do I got here? I got a couple more. Oh, this one was I didn't actually write down anything other than the title of this one. I just thought it was a funny prompt. I'm not sure when this was, but Stevie Wonder, not blind.
Just been faking it for so long.
Yeah. When I read that, I was like, I hope it's true, because then like that's almost the only thing more impressive than Stevie Wonder being like visually impaired and like still having the career and the life that he's had, and he's such a talented individual. The only thing like better than that is that it's all fake. And he's just like this really horrible human that's so committed.
He's faking a disability.
Oh,
yeah.
Kayfabe, like he's never, ever gonna come clean. Like literally on his deathbed, like just like his closest loved one, like, come here, I gotta tell you something. Like, I see you.
I want to see like a YouTube video of him, and he's like kind of going out. He's got his big old sunglasses on, and he's going to a basketball court, and then he just throws down the sunglasses, pulls up, hits a three from like way outside the arc, and he's just like, I could see the whole time, and then they cryogenically freeze him. So we can't get answers for like a long time.
It was queued up. He was just supposed to be dipped. He actually shot the 3-point on top of this like giant platform.
And he just slowly transforms into a block of ice.
Yeah. Oh my god. Oh man, I was just picturing something like you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger as like Mr. Freeze.
Yeah.
Like that's like, he's on some type of like platform like that, and they like shoots the shot, and then he's like, all right, everybody, stay cool. And they just fucking cryogenically frozen. And they're like, wait, Stevie Wonder could see?
Nobody's even talking about the cryogenics.
All this huge press conference, and it's like it's not outside the arena, it's in the arena. I actually needed the whole arena to hold this press conference, and all these reporters come in, chairs everywhere, and they just like, this is 15XL curtain like covering this whole huge fucking stage, and he's got like this giant novelty rope, and he just pulls it, fucking the whole thing comes down, and it's a giant cryogenic chamber, Batman style, that he's gonna get like hoisted up to the top of, shoots a half-point jumper, makes a really sweet one-liner, stay frosty, and he's fucking all right, everybody, chill, and he's just fucking gone, ghost mode. I can see.
Do you think
yes.
Here's a philosophical question. Do you think he would have had the career that he would have if he could see?
Ooh, yeah, you know what? I
want to say he's incredibly talented, and like you want to believe that he would. I mean, but maybe that is an extra little bit on top of how talented he is.
I think there's definitely a part of that. I mean, I'm not going to be the guy who sits here and is like, Stevie Wonder's only famous because he's blind. I'm not going to say that.
No.
I think his music speaks for itself. I think he's very talented. But yeah, I mean, obviously, I think there's something there. There's something like,
it's a little extra intrigue.
The song is so good. It's such an amazing song.
Yeah.
Did you know the guy that recorded is blind? And you'd be like, wow, that is some information that I didn't know, and Very impressive.
Yeah, it certainly adds to how impressive this is, but doesn't change the quality of the music. Like, is that how we react? I don't know. It's hard to say. You're talking about a totally hypothetical until he does reveal that he could see all along.
Oh man, this episode is gonna blow up when he fucking finally drops the vision bomb on everybody. Hey,
it's gonna be this now to get meta again. This episode is going to be like a soundbite on a future conspiracy video after it comes out that Stevie Wonder could see the whole time.
These guys up in Canada, they knew the whole
They knew everything.
That should be a t-shirt. It's just like Stevie Wonder, no glasses, and just like his eyes are all like really big, and it's like, listen to Rad Dad. I see you. That's a wicked t-shirt.
Yeah, no, that would get us sued pretty quick, I think.
Yeah, probably get sued. So I got one more here. Last one. Oh, this one kind of blew me away. What was wildest about this is just the number of people that were like on board with this one. Some people think that Lance Armstrong cheated.
Like getting to the moon? Oh, the bike guy.
Yeah.
You mean he didn't go to the moon?
No. There's a whole group of people out there saying that all his Tour de France wins, that he cheated somehow.
Man, that guy, so that's one of those things where it's like you really have to weigh out what he accomplished both like professionally and just like in society in general.
Yeah, the day it happened, I was like, look at all the money he raised for cancer.
I know, that's exactly what I was gonna say. I'm like, this guy's raised more money for cancer than like most of us could ever do in fucking 40 lifetimes. And he doped for a bike race. I don't even like bike racing. I hope they all dope. Make them go a little faster. Let's push the entertainment level up.
Dude, honestly, that was pretty wholesome, and it was from a good place. I'm gonna take it a little more evil direction, but I think that that's true about like steroids and like all PEDs. Like as a consumer, I want to watch the like steroid basketball association. Like I want the SBA. I want it now. I want like. I watch this because these guys are like extremely powerful and like athletic, and their prowess makes me go like, wow, I could never do that. So like, why would I want to watch like a leveled up version of that? The drugs only. Screw the world drug free. Give me the like extra drug league. I bet you it's awesome to watch. Fuck the Tour de France. It's a silly little bike race. No one cares about bike races. In fact, I know we only have 40 listeners, but if any one of you are like into cycling, just stop listening.
If you own a bike, you're now my enemy.
Yeah, you're fucking done. Okay, biking sucks and I hate it.
But yeah, I mean that was
sorry. Cyclists suck and I hate them. sorry. Cycling and bikes and everything to do with it.
Anything
suck and I hate them.
Anything with wheels.
Oh god.
Done with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that was my thing. Is I was like, this guy's accomplished a ton, and like, I'm sorry that he put an asterisk on a few of your bike races.
Yeah, it was wild that he was just like, you can go back and like, he was like, I've never cheated.
Yeah.
Ever.
And so that's the one thing where it's like he was obviously like lying and people were, going to his side, and they were like, I believe him, he's an upstanding person, he would never, and then he totally sewered them in that sense when it did come out and he had to basically admit it. So I get that. That's pretty shitty, but again, like this guy probably bumped up the like cure for cancer by like 3 decades just solely himself. So
and he got a raw deal because like before it came out that he was like definitely doping, and he was on Nike, like he was endorsing Nike, Live Strong, all those are all Nike bracelets and stuff. In his contract, it was actually Nike that was going to supply his cryogenics chamber. So when he finally told everybody, P.S. I cheated at this stupid little bike race,
and they cancel his deal, he loses his cryogenics.
He was going to just freeze himself, but then Nike dropped him, and they're like, P.S. that means you can't use our like custom cryo chamber we built you. Our swoosh, just do it. Cryogenics.
You were going right between Tiger and LeBron, and now you had nothing.
Yeah, nothing, man. He screwed it all up.
Yeah.
But he did raise a lot of money for cancer. So.
And you know what the other part of it is he was doping as he was coming back from battling cancer. Like he very serious bout with cancer, and he did some steroids to help get him back to like competing level. I mean, who am I to say like how much of a difference that made? Like, was that the sole reason he won or not? I don't know. But like, it wasn't just like he wanted a huge edge. It was like he dealt with a very serious illness, which he also raised a ton of money for. Let's not forget about that.
And all those dudes were doping, right? Like it was
Probably a ton of them were. If he got away with it for that long, like, he couldn't have been the only guy.
No, and I think he had the most. I think he had the most resources, the biggest name.
For sure.
Yeah, like he was most able to dope. I love how righteous people get though. Like, you see that and you're like, oh my god, cheater! I can never support him. And then like, as you're on your couch doping in another way, doing another form of dope, watching the TV, like
yeah.
But I guess you're not winning the sit on the couch race for millions and millions and millions of dollars.
Well, and then a lot of these leagues and associations, they have kind of like arbitrary standards for what is considered doping and stuff. Like, the NFL, you can still get banned for having cannabis in your system. Well, that's not performance enhancing.
That was crazy.
Josh Gordon, obviously I'm a fantasy football player. He was like, had one of the all-time greatest fantasy seasons. This is like back 2013. Young wide receiver, and then he gets busted for cannabis in his system. And so he goes into the player treatment program, but he basically missed like a full season, right? And then he comes back. I think he played a few games, and then this is after the season is over, but because he's still in the player treatment program, his private plane lands in Vegas. He's going to party with his teammates, and there's a drug tester from the NFL waiting for him at this airport, and they test him right there. And even though the season's over, like, they are done not playing in playoffs, they tested him, he tested positive, gets banned again. And so this guy, like, in the prime of his career, missed a ton of time for basically because he was smoking weed. Now,
for smoking pot.
Yeah.
It's not even a thing.
It shouldn't be a thing.
That was it. Brittany Griner. How you say her name?
Brittany Griner. Yeah.
Brittany Griner. She was locked up in Russia for having like weed vape carts or whatever.
Yeah.
There's there's a ton of people being like, because they had to trade some type of.
Oh yeah, they traded like a huge arms dealer, like the Merchant of Death or whatever.
And there's like millions of Americans currently incarcerated for like dime bags of weed.
Yeah.
And you're like, you're gonna trade like a Russian super spy and like keep all these other people fucking locked up? This person who like knowingly brought weed into Russia,
into a foreign country that like one Google search could tell you not very friendly to drugs at all.
And it's so crazy. Like, that makes me think of that Dave Chappelle skit when he's talking about his white friend in the car who races the police officer, and then like the police officer pulls him over and he's like, "What the hell was that?" And the white guy's like, "Sorry, officer, I didn't realize I couldn't do that." And just gets let go. Like Brittany Griner's like in Russia. Right? In Putin's Russia with a bunch of weed. You're like, I didn't think it'd be a problem.
Yeah.
I thought it'd be totally cool.
I'm a famous American citizen in Russia. I'm going to travel with carts of, cannabis oil.
Yeah. Not a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wild that a very prolific arms dealer who's probably had a hand in like a lot of death and suffering around the world was traded for a lady who had one cart, and I have like a box upstairs with like a whole handful of them. Just like, it's just like the context of that.
She fucking dunks, all right?
Yeah.
And you had to get her back. I do think the black hole theory, like there's another one, like the world has ended. We're just talking about this like insane stuff.
Yeah.
It's a program. We're in the Matrix.
They're remember that old the old South Park episode where they're roasting Family Guy and the manatees are going to get the idea balls out of the pool and they're just putting them together. This is what the Matrix is doing. It's just like, I don't know how to make a story anymore. It's just some AI that's just pulling like random thoughts and they're like, okay, a pro basketball player.
It's
vape
awesome.
Cart and Russia arms dealer. Okay, let's make a story out of that. Like,
it's either the robots are running out of material that are like harvesting our inner goop to like run their robot cities, or what was your theory was really good that like it's a relative time thing and that we all are just like actually dying in a really horrible, awful way, and it's just like synaptic.
It's just dragging out forever.
Yeah.
Like we're all getting crushed by the immeasurable weight of this black hole, but it's gonna take 100 years for it to happen. Yeah, when you die, it's been shown that your brain will just fire off every hormone and like every synapse that it can, so that you just like don't really witness what's happening to you. It's just like, and that's what's happening to us all right now.
We must have been like,
and this is happening in my brain and my brain alone. I'm basically talking to myself.
No, I feel like you and I were like 2012, like world's about to explode. We're both at Radio Shack, looking at mics, talking about the WNBA and Russia, sipping on Baja Blast Mountain Dew, and that's when the world ended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were also physically linked.
Yeah. It's like Pacific
by the
Rim.
mouth.
Yeah, we were kissing when the world ended. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to Rat Tat Redemption Podcast.
We really just lost a good chunk of our audience that doesn't want to.
No, just the cyclists, and we don't want you back. So get the
Stay away. Please don't leave through my garage because my bike is hanging from the roof.
Well,
I don't use it though.
Episode.
I don't use it though.
Last episode ever.
Obviously, I don't use it.
Okay, well then get rid of it.
Oh yeah, the thing's going in the trash tomorrow.
Actually, positive we both talked about buying bikes on a podcast. I'm a fraud. I'm a cyclist. All right. Well, tune in next week when we review our favorite bicycles.
Just do a whole. We're just gonna absolutely just shit all over cycling, and then next week we're gonna pretend like it didn't happen, reviewing bikes.
Yeah.
So, if you are, a representative of one of the top bike brands out there, I don't know any because I hate cycling, but send us a bike for free.
Yeah, Mr. Mountain
We'll
Dew,
review it.
Toss in a couple bikes and
Send us a Mountain Dew branded bike.
oh, so sick.
That's what I like to drink when I'm on a long bike ride. It's just a cold splash of Mountain Dew.
Well, that's honestly Lance. Like all those years he's winning the tour, just Baja blasting, man, on the cycle.
Well, it's like Phil Kessel drinks Coke on the bench.
That I believe. That's not a conspiracy theory.
I'm pretty sure that's true.
Yikes.
And somebody else did too. Another NHL player, like Zdeno Chara, maybe. So I don't know. Somebody would just but because of the sponsorships, like Gatorade would sponsor. Now it's I think
It's in a Gatorade bottle.
Yeah, you put it in a Gatorade bottle, or now it's like biofuel or whatever. But
Actually, I believe that for sure. Like, all their sticks are just like whatever brand they're sponsored by. They're like quite literally like a skin, like a Fortnite skin, like a paint job on those sticks to sell to kids who are playing right now. Like, oh my God, like look at McDavid, this is the stick he used. And maybe he does use it. But then the players, because they're professionals, they'll use whatever stick they want.
yeah,
Because that's what they do, and they're entitled to do so.
I've seen there's actually a website, and I don't know why I got recommended this because I don't play hockey at all.
Yeah.
But I saw this on, I think it was Facebook or Twitter or something, and it was a sponsored ad, and it's basically a company that sells you these unskinned sticks at like a fraction of the cost.
Oh,
so you can go buy the Connor McDavid, whatever the fuck he plays with, but it doesn't have that skin. It's just like a black graphite stick.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah.
Even back in the day, because the stick technology has changed a lot. But you'd have guys who would use full 2 pieces, and they'd be painted as a 1-piece stick to drive sales. A pretty famous one would be Jerome McGinley. He used Easton Synergy, the original one, and there's a 460 gram stick. That's the weight, graphite, 1 piece, and he always would you'd see him skating, you'd see him rocking the newest Easton new, but Jerome never changed his stick. He only ever played with that 460 gram boat anchor. That is his stick from when he started using it to when he retired, kind of thing. And doesn't matter, gotta sell them. So you can't trust everything you read out there, you see out there, kids. It's all a bunch of bullshit.
You can only trust what these 2 faceless strangers say in my basement.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we had a cool ending, and then we fizzled out with a bunch of hockey stick talk. And
I don't know. I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting, but now we need a real banger, a real black hole of an ending here.
You're all dying slowly and painfully, and none of this is real.
Yeah.
Good night. Have a good sleep.
Shut this off and think about all the stuff in your life that indicates we're living in a simulation.
Just not. People aren't going to sleep for weeks.
Yeah. All right.
Do you ever watch a true crime thing, and it kind of gets you a little fucked up in the head, even though you know that that would probably never happen to me in Okotoks, Alberta. So an example of this on Disney Plus, there's a docuseries, and it's about all these copycat serial killers in LA from the 70s and 80s. It's called City of Angels, City of Death. And so I was watching this, and it was so intense, and there's like all these copycat serial killers coming out, and there's like 8 of them operating at the same time. I was like, man, that's wild. That's super crazy that people can do that. And then I go walk my dogs, and it's night, it's dark, and I'm going down a back alley. Again, I'm in very safe Okotoks, Alberta, but a car like kind of pulls in. I was like, I'm about to get stabbed and murdered. Like, and that was my head, and like my heart was going, and this person just like turned into their garage, like, but my heart was going. I was like, oh no, I'm the first victim of the Okotoks Strangler. Like,
yeah, I was watching Weird History. They got this series on YouTube where it's timeline like each year. I was watching the 70s today, and it was one of the years. I think it was 75 or 74. Actually, I don't even know. Maybe it was later, but it was they're talking about Son of Sam. And they like talked about some of like those killings, and I did the exact same thing. They're talking about the two women in the car, and he just walks up, it's late night, and he just shoots them. You know, it's like next time I'm in the car, I'm just like sitting around, like I sure hope no one just fucking walks up and shoots me in my face. Like, yeah, that's a totally rational fear.
Yeah, like, yeah. The media can mess you up. The only thing you want to listen to is this show.
Yeah, some mixed messages. Yes. Stop listening and viewing media. Just listen to this particular media, and that's it.
But I do want to thank you for listening, making it through episodes. I feel like we had a fun time today.
Yeah, it was a great time. Great chat. Yeah. Thanks for listening. Hey, I got to be honest, still haven't received too many emails. If you are feeling industrious, if you made it to the end of this episode and you're like, I have 2 more minutes of time that I can dedicate to these idiots, fire us an email, ask us a question, just say something mean that we can read out. Doesn't matter. raddadredemptionpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks, team.
Very good chance you'd be read out on the next show.
High
like
chance.
100% chance. Bye.
Tune in next episode when we reveal our top-rated black market diet pill.